It's some peeps. It's some peeps. So, y'all, I've been down in the dumps, feeling all kind of stuff. And then I realized something. It's the time of year when my first son's birthday is coming up. And I think there have been years where I didn't allow myself to remember it because it hurt too much. I'm getting misty now. So I wanted to do this in honor of him. 38 years ago, on Monday, I gave birth to a little boy. And I named him Brandon. And my mother gave him the middle name, Kashish. So he was Brandon Kashish Bay. And he was with me for 2.5 months before he went back to Allah. And I'm already crying. Okay, so I wanted to tell the story about my giving birth to this little boy at 13 and then losing him and how it affected the rest of my life and how you never heal from the, am I going to be able to do this? How you never heal from the loss of a child. Oh my God, all the boogers and all the water. Okay. So I gotta get it together. Okay. So, okay, I can do this. In honor of my son, I can do this. I can be strong enough to do this. Okay. So, when I was young, I've told y'all, grown up schizophrenic parent, blah, 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 blah. So at 13, I'm still looking for love, from somewhere other than my home because I guess I realized I wasn't getting what I needed there. So I had started hanging with this grown-ass girl who was already having sex. And, all the boys loved her and she was popular. So I guess I had told myself that in order to gain popularity and be more accepted, because I never was, I was raised a Moor. We practiced a different sect of Islam than the Nation of Islam. I didn't eat meat. I only ate fish. So I always smelled like fish because my mother was unwell and the windows were always closed and covered with something and so on and so forth. So I think in an effort to gain acceptance from my peers, I decided to give in. And what was crazy was this chick, and it's so crazy how when you're young, you think someone's your friend. And then you get older and you realize that wasn't your friend. That she didn't really love you. You were like a fucking pet. Do you know how much that irks me now that I'm older? And all the things that I look back on that she was doing to me. Anyway, she served a purpose though, because she got me out of my mother's house. I got to look at the blessing in it because she got me out of my mother's house and I did learn quite a few things from her. But anyway, so, God, this is going to be tough. So, in an effort to be accepted by my peers and so and such, and I think she even set this meeting up because I had liked this boy, whatever. So his name was Oliver, and I gave Oliver my virginity at 13 and ended up pregnant. Don't even remember enjoying it because honestly, how would I know if I was enjoying it or not at 13? And after being molested for years, do I really, at that age, you're not even ready. Okay, that's a whole nother. Let me just shut up and keep with, because y'all know I get off track, and I'm about to do it again in classic fashion. Okay, so I end up pregnant. I don't know I'm pregnant because my mother never really had the talk with me. When I got my cycle, she wrapped up a sheet in some paper towels and said, "Here," because we were poor. Like, there was no money for pads and tampons. There were no dollar stores. There was Woolworths. And Woolworths were expensive for poor people. So she never had to talk with me. She just pretty much told me stay away from boys. If you tell a child not to do something, some children, some of us, you know, curious and hard-headed children, are going to go and do the opposite. So I didn't know I was pregnant. Um, the same girl that I had spent my time with outside of the dysfunction of my home, her mother said to me, are you pregnant? You know, your breasts are bigger. You know, I guess my behind had grew, and, you know, just all these things because I was very slender at the time, just like a 13-year-old should be. And I didn't know I was pregnant until I was 6 months. And that's because my mother had taken me to the doctor because I don't know if it was that I hadn't asked her for anything to protect myself, or I looked different. I don't even, it's sort of a blur. I have this, I mean, it's a gift that all of us have that parts of my life are missing because I think they're just still a little too painful for me to handle. So there are things I don't remember. So, but I remember going to the doctor, and I remember my mother walking out with, and the doctor was Dr. Chan. She worked in a health center in Pittsburgh that actually I think might still be there. At least the building's there. So she walked out of the room, and Dr. Chan came back in with my mother, and my mother said, "Well, can't she get an abortion?" And she said, "Well, it's too late for that. She's 6 months." And it's crazy that I don't know if I didn't know, if I was in denial, or I was scared of what my mother would say, or what it was. But so anyway, this is painful. So anyway, so I have the baby. When I was in labor, in the hospital, my aunt had came to visit because my mother had to go back to my brother, who at the time would have been 9. And so my aunt was there. This auntie. That's it. So I don't know if I couldn't get pain medicine or something, but childbirth is painful. So I think I was writhing in pain, and she said something to me to the effect, "That's what you get. See, this ain't no joke, blah, blah, blah." As if the pain was some kind of punishment. Anyway, the trauma of the experience is evident on my face. Anyway, so I'm not going to go too deep into this because I'm not going to make it. So anyway, so I give birth to this beautiful little boy with gray eyes and a whole head full of hair and 2 little soft teeth in his mouth. Little old soul. So I take him home, and my mother tried to make me stay in the house with him. And at 13, you don't know how to care for a child. And I would take him where I went because um, I didn't trust to leave him there with my mom because I knew she wasn't well. So I said, take him everywhere with me. And I remember my one favorite memory I have of him is taking him to see E.T. because he slept the whole time he was strapped to me, and he slept through the whole thing. It was so good. And the next memory I have is waking up and he's gone, and his face is white, and he was face down. I don't know if he had rolled over in his sleep, but his brain didn't trigger. He died from crib death. His brain must not have triggered for him to breathe. Okay, I'm gonna be able to do this. Okay. But the scream that you make when you realize that your child is gone is something I'll never forget, and it's a sound I could never make again. He was so stiff. He didn't wake up to eat, and I woke up because I'm like, why didn't he wake up to eat? He was just this stiff little body. So we call the paramedics, and they come, and I'm in the bathroom sobbing. So anyway, they take him away. I'm gonna skip a bunch of stuff because I can't. Obviously, I can't. And this friend comes in the bathroom and she says to me, you know, maybe it was God's way of giving me my freedom. It may have been, you know, who's to know. Man. So we have a funeral in Pittsburgh and Homewood. I forget the name of it. I think it was Watkins or something like that. And my uncle Vitapati was there. And Vitapati says, "Don't cry. Grandfather wouldn't want you to cry." Y'all know me. I'm like, what? I just lost my child. Hey, grandfather's gone. Don't talk to me about this bull crap right now. So afterwards, a nurse calls me and asks me if I had rolled over on my child. Now I'm 13. My mother blamed me. She said, if he had a cold, if you hadn't been taking him outside. He wasn't even sick at the time. I don't even know what she was talking about because CYS had taken me out of her house and I was living with someone else at the time because she had tried to hit me with a board or something with him in my arms and they felt like I was in danger. So I wasn't even living with her. Anyway, my mother blamed me for his death. I've been carrying all this pain about his passing for years. And it's been 38 years. I'll be 52 in the spring. It's been 38 years since my son passed. And every year I fall into this depression. And I just realized why, because I don't think I've fully healed, but how do you ever heal from that? He'd be 38. I'd have a 38-year-old, y'all. Imagine. I mean, I have a 33, so. The crazy part is, this year I realized all this. My middle one just gave birth. She's 30. My 33-year-old's pregnant. And my 28-year-old's pregnant. Right now. at the same dang time. I mean, I'm obviously still not over it. So, I've been pregnant so many times in my life. I've been pregnant 6 times. I'm 51. I've been pregnant 6 times. I've given birth to 5 children. And my mother made me abort one and give one away, which I felt guilty about, but I was okay with because I knew he was going to be a boy. For some reason, I know what the sex of the child is going to be beforehand. Like, I know the youngest child is having a girl, and I know the oldest one's having a boy, and I knew the middle one was having a boy. I don't know why I know these things, but I just do. But I wanted to pay tribute to the experience of loving a life. Even when you're young, for loving a life so much. That little life that I had for 10 weeks. He was only with me for 10 weeks. He died February. He died February 21st. I needed to, since his birthday's Monday, I needed to get it out of my system. I love you too, Anthony. I needed to get it out of my system. I guess I feel so guilty, like I did something wrong because the adults around me blamed me for him passing. And I don't know if I blame myself or I feel guilty for even bringing him into this world. I was ill-equipped to have a child, but I was also ill-equipped for life because my mother wasn't well enough to teach me the things I needed to know to have prevented it. Can y'all hear all these boogers? I'm trying to finish without blowing my nose all in this camera. But I just wanted to I wanted to honor my son and his passing by talking about him and honoring the 10 weeks that I had with him and how was my first real attempt to love someone other than myself when I didn't even know how to love myself. And was never truly shown the love I needed from the adults around me because they were so immersed in their own lives. I've had so many children. I still feel guilty for I still feel guilty for I still feel guilty for my inability to be a perfect parent to the children I did raise, that did survive, and have survived me in all my failings. I still feel like a failure, to be honest. I haven't achieved any of the things that I wanted to in my life, publishing my poetry or any of those things, because I feel like I still feel inadequate, or I don't feel like I can have a healthy relationship. But just this year is the year where I have to make peace with these things, and I have to cleanse myself of I feel like I need to cleanse myself because I'm getting so old. I don't want to leave here with all my gifts inside, but I can't. I'm not going to be able to bring them out unless I express and remove all the pain because it's hindering me. The pain of losing that child, the pain of being molested by men, the pain of not understanding the love of a man because do I even know what it means? Do I even understand relationships between men and women? Do I know what a parent is supposed to be like? Am I gonna be a good grandma? Like, oh, I needed to get this off my chest. I needed to talk about how being a parent at 13, that I was already in a downward spiral from being molested since I was 5, from having a schizophrenic parent, mother, an alcoholic father who hit on me and said, "There's nothing wrong with me wanting you, I made you." My father was a narcissist, love him to death, but narcy. My daddy was awesome, but he was a narcissist. He figured because he made something pretty, he was allowed to look at it in a way he shouldn't have been. I don't know. Like, I know that my purpose in life is to help others because I think that's what it is. Because I've experienced so many things, like the molestation, the rape, the the losing a child at 13 years old, the having an abortion at 15, to giving birth again at 18, to getting pregnant again at 19 and giving them away to adoption, to get pregnant again at 21, again at 23. Because thank you, Quali. I appreciate it. This is so difficult, and I can't stop crying. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to speak without, but this is so hard. But I need to free myself from all the guilt of all these mistakes, and try to become what the Creator wants me to be. Allah doesn't want me to continue to be miserable, and I feel so lost. Like, one minute I think I know what my purpose is, and the next minute I just feel so lost. And I also just get so lost and wrapped up in my relationships because epiphany, because I know the one thing I can do right is love someone. Because I've loved all these people, even though they treated me poorly. But I have boundary issues. I wasn't able to set boundaries, so I have boundary issues. I don't know when enough is too much. I don't know when I should be asked to be treated better. There's so many um there's so many glitches that occur in scars, not on your spirit, but just on your soul, that you just continue to carry if you don't learn how to exercise them in some way. And that's why I started doing these videos in the first place, because I wanted to help other people, and it was cathartic for me. Whew. All the boogers. I'm trying not to blow my nose while I'm on this video because it's disgusting and there's a mountain in here. But y'all, the next few videos will probably be like this so I can get back on track, because I think what's happening is my spirit is forcing me to remove these weights so that next year I can actually become who I'm supposed to become, because it's taken me so many years to forgive myself and those who have harmed me. But because my father left here without us having a stable relationship, so I feel guilty for that. I feel guilty for not having spent more time with my schizophrenic mother, even though she kept pushing me away. I feel guilty for the mistakes I made, and my children being harmed by people I trusted. And I'm not quite sure if I know if this is Allah's will or just my inability to be a good parent. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I think I have to cut it out because I'm starting that little kid cry. Ah. This wasn't a pity party. It's just me trying to rinse. I'm trying to rinse my spirit. And the only way I know how to do that is to talk and cry. So I'm going to share. Please share this with anybody who's lost a child, especially at a young age where they were ill-equipped. He died a crib death, by the way. So anybody that's lost a child to SIDS, because, whew, oh my God. Life has been so unfair to me, but I don't want to be weak, and I don't want to be broken, and I don't want to be a failure. So I'm going to keep pushing until I push through it. And if I don't make it this go round, then I'll continue it next lifetime willingly. But I want to leave these things because now that we have this technology, my children can look back and understand me better, because there are things that children will never understand until they get older. So at least they'll have these things to look back on when I'm gone and understand why they had to suffer with me. So I no longer can breathe because I'm so full of boogers. So I love you all. That's why I do this. I'm going to try to say my mantra, full of boogers. Oh my God, don't eat them. I love you all. That's why I do this, because I want us to be stronger in our hearts, minds, and spirits, and I want us to find love in one another so we don't have to look outside ourselves for it. And I want us to be able to stay in this world, especially on this continent because it belongs to us. And we need to reclaim it because we are the oldest people on earth. So, having said that, I want to say peace. Oh, okay.